Hey everyone, welcome to our episode on our podcast today. I'm your host Dalibor, and Andrew is with us. Today we have a special guest right now, Igor. He's been trading in crypto space for, I would say, 2 years now, approximately.
About two and a half years. Yeah.
Perfect. And he's been killing it in NFTs. He's been making money. He's been doing very well for himself. So let's get started. Igor, do you want to introduce yourself to everyone who listens to our show a little bit?
Absolutely. Absolutely. First and foremost, thank you for having me on. My name is Igor. I live in Windsor. I'm 32. I've been trading in crypto for little less than 2.5 years, and I've been doing about trading NFTs for about 1 year to the day. And you know what? Some of the best decisions I've ever made.
That's perfect. So, well, how's your crypto journey? Everyone has, their moment of, hey, I found out about this, I've learned about it, then I actually started getting involved with it. So, how was your journey into getting into crypto?
Right. So about 10 years ago, I heard about Bitcoin. Now, I didn't know what it was. I simply heard about it. Didn't do anything with it up until about 2.5 years ago, where I bought some Bitcoin and some Litecoin off of Coinbase. And I was thinking, I was like, okay, this is cool. Let's see what happens. Because I kept seeing it be volatile. Yet I was convinced for some reason that this would be a way to make a lot of money over a period of time that wasn't 20, 30 years. So little by little, I kept trading this one, that one, but I kept sticking with the main one, Bitcoin, a little bit of Ethereum, eventually some Maker, and then we have the meme coins, which I started with last year. But I found that they appreciated in value quite a lot, and they allowed me to take care of bills and other needs and other wants quicker than I would have been able to simply by working, typical 9 to 5. And that's when I got into NFTs because a friend of mine was like, "Oh, you got to get on NBA Top Shot. This is cool." And instead of asking him a million things, I said, "Yeah, okay, no problem." And for NFTs for Top Shot, I kid you not, I only invested $25 of my own money, and I've probably made upwards of like 6, 7 G's. Because
Fantastic.
yeah, that sometimes it's about the luck of the draw in terms of what you get in the packs. But if you end up getting something good, a great player, moment with a low serial number, you could trade it for quite a lot because some people try to do certain challenges. For me, I only care about making money, not doing challenges or collecting. So, you know what? Safe to say, so far, I'm happy. Uh,
That's fantastic. So, why NBA Top Shots? Why not like other things? Why did you specifically choose that? Or is it just because your friend referred you?
that's it. A friend of mine, he also buys and sells crypto and does NFTs in Toronto. He told me about it, and he's like, people love sports moments. People love having authenticated sports moments with low serial numbers, just like trading cards. They're valuable. And I said, all right, let's go for it. And at first, I wasn't convinced till my very first sale. So I paid about $15 for a pack, got two useless moments, and then I pulled a low serial number of Luka Doncic, which I was like, oh, how much is this worth? He's like, put it up on the market for $800. I put it up for 800, didn't sell for a week. I lowered it down to 750, sold that day. So I made $750 almost in a little more than a week over one sale. Okay, no problem. Now the trick was, um, you had to have either a Coinbase or a Binance account to transfer your funds, so you could then send it to your PayPal to your account. So after getting that in order, I realized, oh my goodness, this is great, and haven't looked back since.
That's fantastic. So, what would you say? What are some strategies you used, to make consistent returns, and how
Mm,
do you price in that variability
yeah,
into your ROI? Because I think a lot of people are going to be scared. Oh, I don't know what I'm
right,
going to get in those packs.
right. So there's different types of packs that become available, and the trick is there are only a finite amount of packs which are available. So when you join the queue to get in, you get a random number. You could be first, or you could literally be somebody who's 400,000th in line. And if you're that person, well, you're not getting a pack. So let's say it's a vintage pack. It'll cost you $50. I think you get 5 moments, 4 common, and 1 vintage. You get something good, like you get a Carmelo Anthony from 2010, and the serial number less than 1,000. You're probably going to make some money. And now the cool thing is, Top Shot has a pricing helper, so it shows other people who have that moment what they're pricing it as compared to their serial number. So it's easier for you to gauge what you can sell it for. Now, some people like to lowball things, but generally, more famous players with lower serial numbers, they will be worth more as time goes on. Because lo and behold, let's say something happens and LeBron retires. Whoever's got a good LeBron moment, that's going to appreciate in value because now you have a legend, right? Just like with trading cards or Pokemon cards.
So how many are issued every year, right? Since obviously if they issue more and more and more, these cards become less valuable. So how is that addressed in this NBA long shots, right?
Right. So that's kind of strange because they do issue a lot, and I mean a lot. There was one vintage pack just about Dwayne Wade, and I think they had 250,000 moments, right? Now, if you get a low serial number, you're good. If you get a high serial number, well, you could sell that for maybe like $5 to $10. And there is some oversaturation, which again does make the more rare moments more valuable. Some people like to collect a lot of moments because you get like score points. So when a certain pack comes out, it says, "Oh, you must have 1,000 points to buy this." Most people won't qualify, but you will. So I guess it's about how you approach the strategy. For me, it's very simple. Spend less, hopefully be able to get something good out of it and earn back more. Some people, they do certain challenges, like crypto whales. They like to buy as many as possible. And then some people sell their accounts, which also can do, some people buy packs, don't open them, and then sell those, right? Like a blind sale. So I guess there's different ways of doing it, but they do saturate the market with a lot. So it's luck of the draw.
That's awesome. It kind of reminds me like FIFA Ultimate Team or some of those modes, but except it's NFT based. It's pretty interesting.
That is true. FIFA's nice.
I wouldn't be surprised if they do an NFT style system like this.
You know what? From what I've seen from like cryptos like Mana, like Decentraland, they might as well, like, I think it's only a matter of time. Because that crypto has appreciated in value significantly since its release, especially in the last 6 months. I was a little weary of it till I realized how much it appreciated in value with what people want to do with it.
Are you saying it's a matter of time until it explodes, or a matter of time until it drops?
I think it's going to explode. Do you own any?
Do you have any Metaverse NFTs?
Not yet. I'm gonna get on that very soon. I don't have any yet, but I will. I do the thing little by little. I think every week I throw a little bit of money, just buy Bitcoin or any of the top 5, top 10. But now I think I'm gonna start buying some of the Metaverse ones because they do have real utilities.
Like, for example, I bought a dog for like $10 in the Metaverse, and I've seen like listings for similar dogs like $80 to $100 now. I'm like, what is this?
That's crazy. Like when people buy like property in the Metaverse, and I was thinking about that. I thought it was strange at first, but then it's kind of like, remember like Roller Coaster Tycoon, where you would compare what you got with your friends and be like, oh, mine's better. It's like that, but you get to like do a VR walkthrough of it. Yet for some reason, it's more valuable because it's like a 3D version of the internet at this point.
Exactly. And I particularly see the metaverse, especially like when with people, being more indoors now, not
Right.
being able to go out. This is like kind of like their escape. Hey, I get to live the life I actually want to because I can't in real life. So I
Yeah,
really see like more and more people actually, creating avatars, maybe of their, ripped versions of themselves, or
of
like
course.
just because you can't, right? Many
Right. Might as
places.
well. Like, let's be honest, like social media like Facebook or Twitter, they're too big. Essentially, they're too big to fail, right? And it's cool. You want to know what other people are doing. You want to know what they like, what they don't like, what they're wearing, the music they listen to, this or that. This is like another version of it, but 3D, except you can make money from it. I'm not sure yet how, but because they do use these crypto, people like that. People like anonymity. Like people like to be seen, but they also like that aspect of anonymity, especially financially. So I think that's why it's going to blow up.
Have you heard about the Decentraland fashion show that's coming up?
Ooh, no, I haven't. What is it? Tell me.
It's in March, and it's a fashion show. You show up, and I think you have a couple designers who are gonna show their designs on, I'm assuming human avatars that are being controlled by people. I don't have all the details now, but you're definitely invited to join Dalibor and I when we go.
I'd love to.
Yeah,
That's
we're
really, that's
we're gonna be
very, very
covering
cool.
it. We're gonna see what models are there, what clothes, what's popping. It's gonna be a great time.
It just shows how far-reaching this potential new economy can be, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's I think like Armani and some of these big companies, and I know Adidas is one of them as well, where they're actually like paying, people to wear avatars, like wear their clothing in this game. It's like totally like brand new.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I'm sure all of us have played Call of Duty at some point in our lives, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I forget which Call of Duty it was, but they had the band Avenged Sevenfold. They had them write music for the game. I think they did it 2 or 3 times. And obviously, like they put their logo or their music in the background. Essentially, you earn money every time there's a sale. So the fact that designers are paying people to do this, I think it's smart. If they get a good return on their investment, then why not? Why not check it out?
Absolutely. And there's like an entirely new industry being formed around it. Because you know how there's like property management in the traditional sense? There's
Right.
digital asset management. It's like entirely new firms being set up that they're digitally managing people's assets and NFTs. So it's absolutely fascinating. And I think it's a business opportunity right now that we could all take advantage of.
You're right. And it was something like only a small percentage of people actually only invest into crypto, NFT, and whatnot. So,
The stat I have is 5% of Canadians are currently only active in it. So that's an untapped market.
ooh, that's very low, which is great. Let's say fast forward 5, 10 years, those of us who are holding crypto right now and let it appreciate, why not? It's like, what did I say earlier? Like when we first started talking, it's like our version of lithium. It's going to appreciate in value as time goes on.
Absolutely. And like me and Andrew, we've been like mining crypto as well for
Mhm.
about a year now, actually.
Oh wow!
And we've been doing very well. We're in it for the long haul. There's definitely concerns over, proof of stake happening with Ethereum. And, a lot of people are now entering Bitcoin mining.
Mm,
So, but you know what? Like we believe it's the future. And like you said, only 5%. Imagine if it jumps to 10%. That means the value could potentially just double, right? If the user base doubles. So
absolutely.
the potential is massive right there.
Right. So, like, I remember when I first heard about Binance and their coin. What is it? What's the Binance coin? Is it BNB?
BNB.
Yeah. Um, in a year, like not even a year, its value has appreciated vastly. The amount of people using Binance around the world has skyrocketed. Now here in Ontario, they decided to screw with it a bit, but still, it's quite valuable. And how's mining going? Tell me about that.
Absolutely. So we started with like 8 GPUs in the beginning. We bought
Oh, wow.
like 3070s. I know Andrew was driving around the GTA gathering as many as he could.
Yeah.
And it just blew up because the ROI back then was like 2 to 3 months.
Mm,
So we were able to accumulate a lot of them, and we've built up a decent sized mining farm now that's generating good income for all of us.
that's amazing. Yeah. Back
Yeah,
in the day
we're still
when
looking to
you could
expand.
mine things for 2 months.
Yeah. Yeah, those days are gone, unfortunately. Hopefully they'll be back, the next bull run. But
Yeah.
that was fantastic. It was such a thrill last year, seeing like how quickly you could actually grow.
That's amazing. And like that's got to feel good on a personal level because you yourself know, hey, I made the right choice and this is going to be great for my future.
And that goes into a whole nother discussion, right? Like when we started into mining, there were a lot of naysayers saying, "Oh, it's too late to get in," "Oh, you won't make any money,"
Yeah,
there's competitors. But you have to feel in your gut, yes, there is risks all the time, but you have to take action. Even though if you fail, at least you've learned something. You know, always risk what you're willing to lose. That's what I always say to people.
mm, I like that. Yeah, I did like even 2.5 years ago when I started to seriously invest. I heard the same thing. Listen, man, you're too late. Appreciation's going to be slow. Well, let's look at Solana. It went from like $3 per coin to being almost what $200, right? Because it's people's choice. Well, it's one of people's choices for trading NFTs, even on something like Rarible or OpenSea. They usually use Ethereum, but when it comes to other ones, Solana's unbelievable. So if somebody invested $1,000, good for you. That's all I'm saying.
There's some like small coins like Zilliqa. If you were mining Zilliqa, like
Yeah,
back when before like the boom started in like 2020, you'd be a
right,
millionaire right now if you just held on to the coins because it appreciated that much. Went from like 0.0000 to like 0.05. So it went to 5 cents and it was worth like 1/100th of that. So it was crazy how. But
right.
yeah, there's opportunities in this space, right? You just have to take the initiative to actually
I
um,
agree.
learn about them. So Igor, question.
Yeah.
As a newbie investor,
Mhm.
how would you consider someone getting into NFTs or MBA long shots like what you're doing?
Right. So one thing I would always advise is, honestly, use YouTube. Go find people who are proven to have succeeded in this and follow some of their tips. It sounds cliche, but it's true. For example, we both know that, all three of us know, that right now the crypto market is a bit down, right? It is down. All my investments are down, but that opens up the opportunity. You know what? If you invest now, a few months from now, it will appreciate because it is valuable. There's no way, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Maker, Internet Computer, Chili's, etc. There's no way they're going down to zero. These are valuable. So follow people who have um, who have invested. Like I don't know, people know somebody like KSI or Logan Paul. They invest into this, and I've paid attention to some of the things they have said. And you know what? It's been decently good. Because at the end of the day, they're doing the same thing we want to do. You want to invest and you want to get a fat return. They're not wealthy because they're stupid.
Of course. Um, so my strategy investing is a little bit different. Like I
Mm.
look because I'm in tech, I've been worked in big tech. I look at the underlying technologies. So
Ooh, okay. Tell me about that.
So when I, for example, look at Cardano, Ethereum, Polkadot, I'm like, okay, they're all relatively similar in what they do.
Mm.
So I have to look at ones, what differentiates them? Who is ahead of the curve, right? So when I
Mm.
look at Ethereum, the biggest challenge I see is the dev team has a lot of political issues and infighting.
Right.
So when they try to get things done, like Ethereum proof of stake or EIP 1559 last year, which they
Mm.
were supposed to solve, the fees, the transaction fees, but they never ended up doing it. They just pissed
Right.
off miners, and that's basically it. That's all that happened.
Right.
So Ethereum's way too slow to evolve.
Mm.
Cardano is an interesting one. Cardano has better tech, in my opinion, than Ethereum, but the use cases in order to adopt it is still in its infancy because the dev support around Ethereum is significantly better.
Mm.
And then when we look at Polkadot, by far has the most advanced technology. The parachains, where you can potentially link other blockchains to it, is fascinating, where we could potentially see it used as a gateway to transact between many different cryptocurrencies. And you could potentially implement things like mining on the parachain that you can mine Polkadot. So it's very, very interesting. So, for example, for me personally, I've invested into Polkadot and Cardano over Ethereum just because I think it will be like a relic, like MySpace was compared to Facebook.
Oh, MySpace died real quick.
Exactly. So that's my opinion of it, especially when the mining community is basically what's keeping Ethereum relevant and this NFT space.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people are unhappy with the fees, right? Like paying $10 to just sell an NFT. Why am I doing that, right? And also the miners are like, why are you punishing us for maintaining the network, right? So they're in a lose-lose situation at the moment. I don't see them getting out of it.
That's interesting because I didn't know about the Polkadot network because I'm not a tech specialist. I'm not a software engineer, but your strategy seems to be really, really cool because you said you could potentially use the Polkadot network to mine or to link other blockchains.
Absolutely. It's called Parachain,
Parachain.
and it's like basically building blocks of Polkadot that you can append to. So it's really fascinating what they've done with that network. And
That's
like it only came out last year, right? So the thing, we don't even know what they can do with it yet because the developers haven't had time to play around with it.
Oh my God. That's actually really brilliant. I would have never thought of that or like I don't think I understand what it means. But since you are in that field and you really find it fascinating, I'm gonna look into it. Why
Absolutely.
not? Good
Also,
advice, good advice.
also, if you're not willing to like know about the tech, you can just stake 10 and you get a return of 10%. So it's pretty good, even if you like, okay, like I'm not sure about the technology, but the return's at least 10% a year.
Right. When it comes to NFTs, so I haven't really bought anything on OpenSea yet. I like to look around, shop around to see if anything's going to be valuable. For example, I'm not going to go buy a Bored Ape because I don't feel like taking out a loan to spend $200,000. But if I had the ability to do that, um, I would look into buying anything from any series. So let's say there's a collection of, I don't know, 5,000 so and so. I would look to buy things from that series because things in a series, they always become more valuable. Even with Top Shot, they have NBA All-Star Game Series. Those moments are more valuable, and as time goes on, they appreciate more. So the more you have in a series, the more people are going to want them. So that's how I started to look at NFTs. If I'm going to buy one, I want to buy that as long as it's part of a series. Nothing really singular unless, something's amazing. But for me and for anybody else who's smaller in this, I look at things that are part of a series because they're always going to garner traffic.
The way I look at it, it's kind of like combining, multiple art pieces. It's like, hey, I have an art piece of, a house. I have an art piece of a park, and I have art piece of let's say, the sidewalk. And when
Right.
I combine all these together, it completes a complete image, right? So if people want to buy the set, it's all from the same author because it has more value when it's together.
Exactly. Like, for example, somebody owns a set of those early 2000s first edition Pokemon cards. You got a set of like Charizard or whatever. People are going to end up wanting to buy that, especially if it's in a set, because you got a set. I mean, if you buy it for so and so, you can sell it for more. It's always going to appreciate. So I like that.
So Igor, what piece of NFT art are you most fond of in your collection?
Um, the one I love the most, it's a rare moment. Serial number. I know this. I was just talking about it yesterday with a friend of mine. It's from the 2021 All-Star Game. A number 72 All-Star Game, Zach LaVine. I picked it up. I bought it for, I don't know, less than $200 after making money on Top Shot. And now I look at what it's worth relative to other numbers, and it's like, around its same serial number. And now it's like close to being worth $350. So I'm like, okay. So that one I'm most proud of. I did sell a low serial number, what's his name? Zion Williamson. I ended up unpacking it. Luck of the draw. That one I sold quickly because, you know what? Car repairs. So, real life. But that Zach LaVine is one I'm most proud of. And I do have a Carmelo Anthony. I forget the serial number on this, from like 2008 or something like that. That one I'm going to hold on to for a while. The others, they can go.
So everything in your collection is up for sale. There's nothing that you'll hold till the day you die and pass on to your kids.
Mostly everything in my collection is for sale. Some things I forget to put on sale. If it's like an extremely low serial number, it's probably worth like $3, and so I don't even bother with it. But I mean, I might as well, because if I sell a bunch of things for $2-3, here's $100 extra. Because I do have some things that the serial number is like 100,000. What are you gonna do with that? Nothing. You're gonna sell it for $2-3. But mostly everything is on sale. Yeah, 100%.
And Dalibor, how many pieces of NFT art do you have? You said the dog, right?
The dog. I'm gonna stick with the dog. I told Andrew I'm not gonna sell it until it hits $1,000. So we'll see. Until it matches how much it costs to buy a dog in real life, I'm not selling it.
What kind of dog is it?
It's a Dalmatian.
Oh, so it's expensive. Okay.
You can actually play with it though, right? In Decentraland, you can go on walks and all that.
I'm not sure exactly. So that's what I'm waiting to see.
That's cool though.
Because you might get attached, right? If you get attached, you're not going to want to sell them.
Hey, it's going to stay in an NFT. I'm not going to use it. It's going to be pristine condition.
Did you name the dog?
Not yet.
Come on. You got to name it.
Hey, I don't want to get attached to it, if I need to sell it.
I think right now I have, on my Top Shot account, I have about 70, 72 moments as it stands. My friend who got me into it, I think he's got over 200. Because he got into it, I think, like a few months before I did. And that was when you were able to get more moments quicker. And now, like, obviously, those earlier ones are worth more. So what he did is he just kept buying and buying. So far, my collection's all right.
Yeah, me and Andrew are also joking that we should create like an NFT art gallery where you can advertise and show off the types of NFTs people have. I think that'd be a really awesome idea to build interest into this space.
That is really cool. I would want to watch that.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about one thing that skipped my mind earlier. So when we were talking about the metaverse and how you essentially will have like a 3D representation of things. So I read, I forget, it might have been from Bloomberg, that certain companies want to have meetings in the metaverse. And you know what the first thing that popped into my mind was? I know, since we're talking about this, all of you are also Star Wars fans. Like when they're in the Jedi Temple and there's holographic images of them talking to each other around the table. Yeah, like when there's holograms of them talking to each other around the Jedi table in the temple. That's the first thing that popped into my mind. I'm like, that is cool. I could actually see companies doing that. You don't want to be somewhere? No problem. You can be somewhere.
Yeah, the one thing I do disagree with is the way Mark Zuckerberg described it, where everyone's going to be wearing VR and then be in a meeting. I don't see that happening. Because
Right.
why would I want to put on VR? But the hologram thing, 100%, sitting in a chair and being somewhere else in the world, I think that would totally work.
Right. Like, like with, was it Wii Sports, where it has like, or was it the PS3 or PS4? I forget which one, where it has the thing on top of your TV. It's like a motion sensor.
Yep.
It's like, use that as, a type of camera where it just scans you and places you in the metaverse with somebody else around the same table, and you can watch it on your screen if you want.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is cool. I would do that 100% over wearing VR glasses.
It doesn't make sense because first of all, I actually like put them on. I know Andrew's used it as well. Like you can't wear that for a long time. It's heavy, it's bulky, and unless it's like glasses, I don't see it like happening, you know.
Yeah, it becomes the VR headset almost becomes a nuisance at that point, right? As opposed to like any type of smart glasses like we see in spy movies.
Absolutely. That would be cool. I would be totally down for that. You know, I
I
love
100%,
wearing glasses
100%
like
be down
that.
for it. Like, yeah, like what are we, Tony Stark? Like, sheesh.
So it would be something like the Microsoft HoloLens or a product like that, and I think it might become a reality maybe in, I don't know, 5 years or so once the technology is cheap enough and more readily available. But you're right, as it currently stands, I have a Quest 2. It's bulky,
Mm,
it's heavy, it's heavier than some of the older headsets,
right.
and it's very uncomfortable to wear for a long time.
Yeah. Like, like, have you ever played Beat Saber?
I have, yeah.
Yeah. So, like, like after a while, your eyes get a little tired, right? So I think,
Yeah, especially later that night, I find my eyes still kind of, I don't know if sore is the right word, but if I'm wearing it
yeah,
for an hour or so, you definitely feel it. It's like fatigue.
yeah. So I think, like you said, that would be a challenge for companies. And let's say 5 years from now, well, I think they'll have the technology sufficient enough to solve that.
Yeah, definitely.
And
And I
also,
go ahead.
when you're joining a Zoom meeting right now for work related purposes, it's already frustrating enough when there's connection issues and you got to troubleshoot and people have to rejoin. It's just
Mm,
gonna magnify the issue when you have to deal with a Quest 2 headset or something like that. And people aren't going to want to do that just for a brief 15-minute meeting at work. Maybe if it's a work social event, I can maybe kind of see that being justified.
you're right.
Like a work you know annual event or something like that. I don't know.
Right. So I have a question. I'm not sure if this exists. Like, like with regular stocks, obviously you invest your own capital in it, dollars, any hard currency. Um, like one thing I potentially can see happening in the metaverse in terms of investing, you can only invest into things with your own crypto, right? So it's like you and your friends, you could have a pool of it, or essentially, I don't know, let's just say, oh, this, asset in the metaverse is here. You can invest into it, like the public. So you can only invest into it with crypto. I think that's valuable, and I think people would do that. Again, it's the anonymity part of it. What do you think?
Well, what's an example of that? Because if you're talking about NFTs, for you to buy an NFT in Decentraland, you gotta convert your fiat currency or your Bitcoin or whatever you have into mana. Is that what you mean? That you can only buy it in the currency that's native to the platform?
Well, something like that. So let's just say you're one of those people who holds a CryptoPunk, right? Um, and let's say somebody allows you to have, I don't know how this would work, but let's say somebody would allow you to have up to 30% ownership of it. You can invest into it, and whatever they sell it for, you get 30% of the sale. So let's say in January you invest, I don't know, 2 grand into this, and by March, your 2 grand is actually now worth like 3,500. So that whatever 30% that you invested in, that's what the original value of it was, you get back as a return. So it's like incentive for more people to invest into your own product. But does that make sense? So it's like you get part of the sale instead of part of the resale.
Hmm.
Like
Does
I'm
this
sure,
already exist?
I don't know if it exists, but then again, 10 years ago, nobody thought that this would exist. But it is a potential. So let's say I own a CryptoPunk and I'm like, I'm going to open it up for 20% ownership if somebody wants to invest into it. So let's say 5 people invest into it. Whatever they invest into it, they get their cut of when I sell it, like when it
Oh,
appreciates.
you know what? I can't think of the actual names, but I did read an article of something similar to this that I don't know what mechanism they use, but I do recall like a fund. Um,
Oh, really?
yeah, a fund that was buying NFT art. So it'd be things that individuals may not be able to afford unless you have a lot of money. But they'd be buying things worth like 20 million or something like that. I don't know if they bought a Beeple, but they bought very expensive pieces of NFT art and they had a fund. I don't remember I think they may have had their own coin or something like that to raise money to be a
Okay.
part of that fund. I don't recall the exact mechanism, but I think versions of that do exist, like ideas like that where people are pooling their money together to buy NFT art, and you gain when they sell it. I couldn't think of it off the top of my head though.
Even if it doesn't exist, it's for sure going to shortly exist, because let me just explain how mining works. So as an
Right.
individual miner, you can't get enough rewards, right? Because it's spread amount, because it's randomly generated who gets the reward. So what a lot of people do is they pool together their resources and then they
Right.
split the rewards amongst themselves. So I imagine a similar thing's going to do with NFTs, right? Because not everyone can afford $1 million
Of
NFT.
course.
But if a couple of people come together and pool their resources, yeah, you can for sure afford it. So I can definitely foresee that happening in the future, just based on how the crypto community operates. They want to share, as much as possible with everyone else, which is another great thing why I love this space, is that how everyone gets a piece of the pie, right? In our
Right.
in our current like financial system, not everyone has an equal access. Here it's very equal for most people at the moment.
Yeah, you're right. And in the current world, how many people actually invest into like the S&P 500 or any extremely valuable stock? Not that many, because people are afraid to lose money. Yes, crypto is volatile, but at the same time, that volatility isn't exactly a bad thing. Hold it for a while. Don't get scared when there's a dip like there is now. I'm sure people got scared at this point. I hope they didn't, but if they did, it is what it is. Hold it for a while. It will appreciate back in value. Like, what was it? What was Bitcoin at last year in January? Was it like 30 grand
Some
Canadian?
basically, let's say half of what it is right now. I think that's
Exactly.
pretty fair.
That's a gigantic appreciation in a year. Like, you don't, like, somebody doesn't have to be an accountant or a financial planner to realize that that kind of appreciation in a year is insane.
Yeah.
And a few of my friends who only dabbled a little bit into it, they made some money, $1, $2, $3,000 here and there, and like, hey, good for you. You know, that's a payment on your house that you didn't have to work 9 to 5 for.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And
so I found the article.
Oh, okay,
So
cool.
so it's called the Metaverse Fund. It's the crypto art investment vehicle that purchased Beeple's $69 million work at Christie's. I'm not sure what it is. It might be I'm not sure the title. I think it might be the 5,000 days artwork, or another one of his pieces. But
Right.
the Metaverse's investment model is owning a bundle of NFT artworks, and rather than buying and selling these directly, they have created a B20 token that fans and investors can purchase, a fractionalized ownership stake in the digital art assets that can be traded as an asset of its own. So to be part of the Metaverse fund, you buy one of their tokens, which like denotes your stake in the purse, in the Metaverse fund, and so you're indirectly owning the artwork of the fund by owning one of these tokens.
Oh, that's awesome.
there you
Yeah,
go.
yeah. I guess the technology for it does exist. Uh, but I think the fact that we're talking about this, like like what you said earlier with Polkadot, your imagination can run wild with what it can do, and I suppose it can help you make better decisions if you like say, "Oh, you know what? I think this is cool." But I think we're in all of us are in agreement here that it does appreciate in value over time. Uh, and you know what? When it does, if you want to sell or you want to hold, that's up to you. But I don't think I've ever been sure of anything more in my life in terms of investments. To the point where I kid you not, when I started more seriously investing into crypto, I sold off all my stocks, and any and all stocks that I had, I sold them. I really don't care much for stocks. For me, it's more so crypto. That's literally the route I went, and you know what? I'm happy I did.
We totally understand. I still have some stocks, but I only invest in tech companies. Like I don't believe in anything else, to be totally honest, in the stock market.
Yeah, per
Uh,
company separate.
so like I love companies like Coinbase, Unity, and another one that they're dabbling in crypto now is Block. They've changed their name from Square.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
I
so
didn't know
those
that.
every company that's like getting involved in the crypto space, yeah, I would say still invest in stocks. But honestly, like stocks, I feel like are dated concept when you compare it to crypto, right? It,
Yeah,
it it's like there's so many rules, restrictions, and like for example, if I want to buy one share of Amazon, it's like $3,000, right? How like most people like they don't want to put $3,000 in just one stock. You want to spread it
no,
amongst some other things. And that's a common misconception because people are used to stocks. They're not familiar with crypto. Like, for example, oh, buying one Bitcoin costs 60,000. No, it doesn't. You can buy like 0.00001 of a Bitcoin, which is
right.
still counts as an investment.
Yes,
So I think that's part of the education process where you don't have, you can buy much less than just one Bitcoin.
absolutely. And the other thing that has drawn me to crypto more is when's the stock market close? 4 p.m. I could go at 2 in the morning tonight and buy $200 worth of Ethereum. Buy and sell. You get your Coinbase account or this or that. You can essentially do this 24/7 at your disposal. And like you said, it doesn't, I don't know if it makes stocks dated, but it definitely outperforms them.
Well, I think for buyers, that's a pretty good proposition. But if you're a trader, it could be pretty
Mm.
stressful because you don't know when you should go to sleep, if at all.
Oh, yeah.
But Andrew, there's things like bots. So in the stock market, you're not allowed to run automated trading. But in crypto, there's some people who run like bots that automatically buy and sell for you.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't have expertise in this area, but if you do know someone, I'd love to talk to them on the show to see how they the strategies around that. That's
Yeah,
something
me
definitely
too.
that's cool.
Yeah, me too. I want to hear how that works. Like like what Andrew said, there's been a time where I stayed up till 2 in the morning and then I'm like, all right, I'm going to bed. I wake up at like 7 and like at 4:30 is when like it was worth its peak and I was like, oh, okay, whatever. That's fine. Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
But you never know. But it is nice to have that availability. You know, you could be
absolutely.
for example, somebody who's a truck driver. You work a long day. You don't have exactly time to go on your Coinbase or this or that, right? Uh, so, like, unlike general stocks, you might not miss out on a great opportunity. You could buy something at 9 p.m. at night, which, shout out to the truck drivers. Thank you for bringing all our stuff across the border.
Absolutely. They run our country.
Legit. And, those supply chains, we'll see.
Yeah. And yeah, but you're totally right about that. Because like for example, if you want to trade stocks, it's like 8 to 4:30, let's say.
Right.
But if you work midnights or other shifts, you might not be able to invest in it. How or a nurse, right? Imagine you work like entire day. It's like when
My
can I
God.
actually buy in stocks, right?
Exactly. One kind of, you know, the break that the nurse sits down in a room, has some lunch, and like takes a big gulp breath because they're busy 24/7. And at the end of the day, it is about financial freedom. Sure, it's fun, but it's about financial freedom. And for those of us who didn't start off with much money, we can attest to the fact that it works. You know, like
Yeah,
you
well,
said,
it's so versatile, right?
yeah.
You can buy it, you can trade it, you can mine it.
Hmm.
What stock can you mine? Can you make Amazon stock? No, but you can generate your own Bitcoin. You're not really making it, but you're able to do it. You're able to gather Bitcoin in a way other than buying it or trading it.
Right.
And like for example, even coins that you can't mine, you can stake them, right? So you can at least earn some percentage of interest on them.
Right.
That's very low risk, generally speaking, because it's not tied to a bank. It's tied to that blockchain. It's or that technology itself. Like when I'm staking on Cardano, I'm getting a
Mm.
percentage of a return. So unless like someone's doing some very shady business, you're most likely not going to lose your crypto.
Right.
Versus, giving a loan to someone, it's that to me, that's a much more risky proposition. And imagine, right? Like you earn 10, 8% in your crypto for very low risk. Tell me where else you're going to find that type of return where it's not a risky investment. It's very hard.
Exactly. No, you're absolutely correct. That kind of investment, like you said, where else are you going to find it?
Exactly. It's just plain and simple. And like obviously you can go into the higher trading stuff like yield farming that does like 20% returns, but the risk is much more significant. But people have made money in it. I know people who've like doubled, tripled their money investing through those yield farming tools.
That's amazing.
However, the risk is on you. You could potentially lose all your money there.
Ooh,
So that's something to keep in mind. Another
not it.
thing I think a lot of people don't know is that there's difference between staking on the blockchain and when you're staking in an exchange. So when
Mhm.
you stake in an exchange, you're basically loaning money to that exchange and then they're investing it. However, when you're staking on the blockchain, you are contributing your funds to the actual validation of the network.
Right. So one crypto that I paid attention to for a little while, Maker. I remember seeing it when it was something like $550 per coin, and my thought was like, "Ooh, that's a bit pricey. What's it worth now? Like 3 grand?
Something
Didn't take
along
long.
those lines, yeah.
It didn't take long. The way I see it is like, uh, how many years did it take for Amazon stock to be what it's at? Something like 20 something years, right? You know, congratulations to them. Maker quadrupled in value, didn't take that long. And so that's one of the things that attracts me to crypto. Even though I might not buy certain crypto, I see for myself that its value rises quickly, far more quickly. And for anybody who's looking to make a little bit of extra money over, I don't know, let's just say a year and a half, why not? Why not give it a shot? You know, I'm not going to be investing money into something like U.S. oil, which I know will always make money, but its growth will be super slow, right? Which also I did, and the growth was super slow. I made like nothing on it.
Hey, if you bought US oil when it was negative, during like beginning of COVID, that would have been the ideal time to buy.
The funny thing is, I bought it mid 2020 and I sold it at the end of 2020, and because I was impatient, I was like, I probably should have stuck with it, but you know, whatever.
Hey, we've all been there.
It's you know what? It's a learning curve. It's fine.
Absolutely.
Better than buying high and selling when it crashes.
Yeah. Uh, what I always say to like people who are new to this space is it's a process, right? It's like if you've never risked any money in your entire life, take it slow, take a little bit of pieces. Like when I first started investing in the stock market, I was losing money. I'm down right now, but I'm not angry about it, right? It's like I know I'll just keep at it. If it drops to zero, or it drops to zero, I messed up. But on the ones you do succeed on, you could potentially make 10, 20, 50x returns. So even though you've lost some money in this aspects, those investments that you've placed, so a lot of them will take off. They'll compensate for the ones you've lost significantly. So that's
Right.
always to keep in mind is the risk. You have to manage risk. And like I always say, don't risk what you can't afford to lose, right? If you're risking all your money that you have for rent, don't do that. That makes no sense.
No, don't do that because at the end of the day, you can't be risking all the money you have for rent because if you can't afford your place, what's going to power your computer? Yeah, but that's smart. Don't risk too much. Let it accumulate.
Igor, did you want to plug any of the upcoming projects you have at all? Any of the things that you have planned?
All right. So my friend and I, he lives in Toronto. His name is Dushan. He's the one that got me into Top Shot. So he's more of like a collector than I am in the sense that he likes to do certain challenges that it offers. So one thing about Top Shot is you can gift your moments to any other account, right? You can gift them for, I think there's no fee if you gift. So some of the more rare moments I had, which he needed, we decided to pool those together. So he's going to be taking care of certain challenges. And if you complete a certain challenge, you get a special moment that you can't buy in a pack otherwise, which is worth a lot more. So, and then we're going to split the profits of it. So we're pooling on that. And because the market's currently down, crypto, most of it is down. It's like maybe 2% up on some of them. I decided that from now on, roughly 20% of what I make every month, I'm going to try to invest, because I do so strongly believe in this. And if I want to own a house in Windsor, Essex, well, it's kind of difficult. So I want to be able to invest intelligently, invest what I can, because my end goal, I'll feel like I made it when I can transfer these funds to my account and put a good down payment on a house. That's always been my ultimate goal. Living in Windsor, Essex, what's the average price of a house here? 575,000.
I think it's over 600,000 now.
No, of course it is. Why would it be? It was probably 575 2 weeks ago. But my ultimate goal is to invest about 1/5 of my monthly earnings into my wallet, my crypto wallet. Let it sit. And when I feel comfortable enough, because the market's been a little shady recently, when I feel comfortable enough, I will go for it. It could take 2 years. That's fine. I don't care. But if I can say 2 years from now, I was able to do this, then anybody else who may be hesitant, who doesn't have much, hopefully, can ask me like, hey, were you able to do it? And if I can confidently say yes, then I hope they can do the same.
Absolutely. Are you looking
I like
to
that.
are you looking to do anything else besides Top Shot? Looking at any other things that
Yeah.
interest you in the crypto space?
Yeah. So there's one. I have my other phone here. There is one that the NFL is doing, right? Now that one's still in its beta version. And what the NFL is doing compared to the NBA is their moments are actually going to be far more rare and far more valuable. So I, of course, found out about that through Top Shot. Go figure. Because they both use Dapper accounts, right? And when you sell your moments, I think you get USD coin out of it. And obviously you can, transfer that to Ethereum or whatever else you want. That's what I'm going to be doing. And I will pay more attention to what I see on OpenSea in terms of what new collections are going to be hot or possibly could be hot. So that's the next thing I'm going to be paying attention to. I'm going to spend a lot of time paying attention to collections. And essentially anything Gary Vee says to pay attention to, I'll do it. For some reason, that guy's a magician. Like, people say like, oh, I don't think that's going to work. And then little down the line, we're like, oh, he was right again.
Absolutely.
Somehow that guy he gets it.
So Igor, are you looking to like maybe create any of artwork on your own on OpenSea, or are you just looking to like buy and sell?
I thought about it. But if I do want to create some artwork of my own, like for example, cool photographs that I've taken in a series or this or that, I want to make sure it's worth somebody else's time. I don't want to mint something just to say, oh, I minted an NFT, give me money. No, I want to make it worth somebody's time, because if they see that my account is the one selling it and they give it a thumbs up, they like it, well, they could tell their friends, be like, hey, I saw this in this guy's account. It's cool. Maybe you should take a look at it. Instead of somebody saying, oh, this account is just trash. So when I do mint something, I want to make sure it's worth somebody else's time. Because if it's not worth their time, why would it be worth my time to mint it? I'd be losing time. So I want to make sure it's up to a standard where somebody will say like, hey, you know what? I want to come back to this guy's account, see what else he has.
Absolutely.
And I think like what you said with tech company stocks. For example, let's look at Nvidia. Their products are good, and they always invest into making their products better year in and year out. So if I am going to invest in regular stocks again, it's a company like that, because at this point you just have to trust the fact that they're going to make good technology.
And they're also like they're making tools for the metaverse. So I've read an article on CoinDesk a couple of weeks ago where they said, yeah, they're actively developing tools and they're going to release it free for individuals.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, so there's companies like that. Why wouldn't you invest? Because clearly they believe in the technology, right?
That's it. They believe in their technology so much so that they're willing to give you, let's call it a playthrough of how things work.
Yeah,
Why wouldn't you do that?
absolutely.
Right?
And
Yeah.
that's what I see the stock market. I see it. I want to invest in companies that are investing in the technology of tomorrow. It's like companies that, are just maintaining the status quo or they're already profitable. Why would I invest in that? It's like
Yeah.
unless you're looking for, dividends or stable income. But if you're not, go this route. There's no,
Like, companies like even larger name companies who've been around for over 100 years, like Ford, they started toying with the idea of an electric F-150. Yeah, it's the F-150. That thing's just powerful, right? And that at first, some people are like, oh, I don't know if that's going to be cool. Yes, it is. What's not cool about an environmentally sustainable, powerful F-150, right? It's just going to rise in value. And again, it's developing their own technology because they believe in it, just like NVIDIA or whoever else.
I don't know. I want a Tesla really bad. So
Yeah, I mean, if Jaguar eventually makes like an electric version of an XK, woo,
yeah, definitely.
woo.
I think Andrew's on board with the Tesla as well, right?
I mean, it's
Yeah,
a,
I'd probably get the Cybertruck if and when it ever comes out.
yeah,
Isn't it delayed or what's going on with that? I know I was reading
Last thing
that.
I read, it said it's delayed indefinitely.
Yeah, that's not a good sign. Rip. I put a deposit in for it, but it looks like I'll have to get that back.
yeah. I don't know how Elon works or how they work, but they're on the right track, and I'll just sit back and watch, right? Because
Well, he has a pretty
it's
good
just like,
track record. That doesn't
yeah,
deliver on time necessarily, but he'll deliver eventually.
yeah, just like like remember when people started talking about, oh, you could never land a rocket back on the ground after shooting it up, you know, seemed impossible. Well, they did it more than once.
And think about how crazy that is, right? You're taking
That is insane.
basically a rod, right? And you're landing it on the ground. You know how difficult that is to do? That's fantastic. That's amazing.
Yeah, like you have put billions into performing one trick,
Yeah.
and when it was succeeded, uh, you look at engineers from all around the world. They looked at that and they're like, oh, that's possible now. Okay, right? But again, you're not throwing away this $1 billion project, this rocket into the ocean and using it for scrap parts. No, you're reusing it.
Yeah.
You know, you know, it's kind of like, I forget where I read this. Somebody's like, when it comes to commercial space travel, are we eventually going to be able to pay for it with crypto? If I'm like, why not? Why not?
Well, Bitcoin's already adopted in El Salvador. I can see many other countries are going that route, right? It
Yeah,
provides stability.
yeah. It provides stability, and like we said, El Salvador isn't known as a nation that's extremely wealthy, right? And when they first adopted it, some people said, "Oh, this is dumb," and like Bitcoin took a dip, and then it skyrocketed. Do you think people from El Salvador made money? Yes, I do. Good for them. I'm happy for them. Hey, all the more power to you.
And
You
not
know,
just that, it provides them stability in the sense that, like, a lot of these smaller countries, they have to have their own currencies. Let's be honest, a lot of them don't know how to manage it, right? This
right?
basically allows them to outsource management to Bitcoin, And we have now, hey, we have a stable currency. We don't need to worry about it. Now we can do much more long-term planning, right? Because we
That's
are
good.
managing our own currency.
Right. Because there's only a few hard currencies in the world. US dollar, Swiss franc, the euro, the British pound. There's only a few hard currencies in the world which weaker countries do use. Like you said, why not outsource that responsibility to something stable that you can trade 24/7?
Absolutely.
So this
But
just going back to what you guys were saying about Elon Musk. This is from a video I saw from John Stossel, but they're saying how for a rocket that relands itself, the Obama administration had concluded that launching a vehicle like that would take 12 years to develop and cost $36 billion. But
wow.
Elon Musk was able to do it in half that time. So Elon Musk did it in half the time and for a cost of $1 billion.
Elon Musk is one of those people we need to protect. He
Yeah.
is like innovating like crazy.
And it gives hope to people around the world, whether they are as intelligent as he is or whether they're fans of the technology. It gives people hope that say like, oh, wait a minute, this is so different from what we have seen that, you know what, if somebody can invest into it, whatever they have, but get a good return at the end, and also know that whatever they invested into helps humanity. I mean, come on.
Absolutely. Well, think about it. We're one step closer to that Mars colony, right? That Elon Musk. He doesn't measure, success in like getting this project completed. He measures it. How far are we from having a sustainable colony on Mars, which I find fascinating. That's his end
Yeah.
goal.
It's like instead of going to step one, he's like, no, how far are we from step three?
Exactly.
It is kind of cool though, because like when you get to step one, there isn't that, maybe there's not that apprehension or fear that you're going to complete it. You're kind of like, no, I'm going to finish it. Yeah. It's a nice way to think about it. I mean, it also helps that, he is a genius. So,
Absolutely.
but what, since you asked me, I got to ask you, um, what, what are you looking into in terms of crypto or NFT or the metaverse?
That's a very good question. So I guess I'll start off. Well, obviously we're mining, so we're looking to expand.
Right.
We're also looking to diversify into different types of mining. So there's
Mhm.
like router mining with helium right now. So you can get like routers that can transmit data like across
Mhm.
each other. So you're kind of creating like a decentralized network. And you can buy these routers, and once you plug them in and set them set up, you get rewards based on that. That's one area we're exploring. Number two, there's decentralized computing done on the blockchain, such as storage, Filecoin with IPFS. So those
Right.
are areas I'd love to, explore and start actually mining and contributing to them. Web 3.0, that's something I know me and Andrew have been talking about for a long, long time. And we're honestly want to jump into that space because I honestly see it as the future of the internet. But
Yeah.
it's like an evolution. It's not a revolution, it's an evolution. It's the next step that I basically see happening.
I follow this one page on Instagram, the crypto something. Is this guy? I sent him a message before he answered back, and he essentially, I forget how much he invests into crypto, but it's a significant amount. And these pages, I find they will message you back and have a discussion with you about Web 3.0 or what they feel is going to be the crypto that jumps up in percentage that week. For some reason, like I keep paying attention to this page, they keep saying that Polkadot and Internet Computer are something to keep watching on
Yep.
because how their technology works, like, and their gas fees aren't even really that expensive. And for people who don't have like 4Gs, 5 grand to invest, buy Ethereum, it's a good alternative to look into. So Web 3.0, I don't really know much about it, but I've seen it pop up a few times.
Yeah, I would say definitely put some research into it.
Yeah.
It's I predict, and it's like investing internet in the 1990s. So we all know what happened to the 90s and 2000s with the internet. So You may want to get ahead of the curve on this one, definitely.
Listen, in the early 2000s, when all of us were like in grade school and early high school, when you buy a cereal box, you get that internet, like that AOL CD, and we're like, oh, this is the coolest thing ever. I'm gonna pop this in and go on my MSN Messenger, right? We
Mhm.
thought that was the end all be all of everything. And now you have, like you said, Web 3.0, the concept of the metaverse, which, by the way, in my opinion, is still in its infancy. Like, that's cool. And like in the 90s, people thought the internet was a fad. Well, hmm,
People are saying about crypto right now. So
people said that Bitcoin was a scam. I'm like, yo, people who bought Bitcoin like 8 years ago bought like 1,000 of it, swimming in freedom.
I know a guy who was telling me in like 2014, 2012, buy Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin. I thought he was crazy. I wish I could take that back like back then. I wish I
Yeah, how do
just
you
bought
think?
I wish I just put $100 back then.
How do you think that guy feels who spent like 100,000 Bitcoin on two pizzas in 2010?
Oh,
Woo!
that guy's kicking himself right now. I can tell you that for sure.
I, I hope it came with dipping sauce, man. But yeah, though it's what excites me about it. Like it took me a little while to convince my dad to. I was like, I was like, let me invest some of your money for you. Let me do it. Let me do it. And last year around June, he's like, all right, here's 5 grand. Now, for anybody to loan you, to give you 5 grand, trust you with 5 grand, that's a significant amount of money. And I told him, I'm like, give me this and I'll return that and more in 1 year. Right? So far, so good. I won't complain. I didn't throw it all into one thing. A few different things there, like a little bit of Ethereum, um, Litecoin is a little bit here and there everywhere, but it's doing decently well, right? And so it took me a little while to convince him. The way I convinced him was this: I showed him my initial investment at the beginning of 2021, and then I showed him like the same investment in like March or April, and then I took that money out. He's like, oh, this isn't real money. So I took that money out and I paid for my car repairs. And I was like, I'm telling you. He's like, well, does this have anything to do with the stock market? I'm like, I don't know, but I can buy and sell at like 1 in the morning. He's like, well, I don't get it. I'm like, neither do I. But you don't have to get something 100% to know that it works. So eventually, I was able to convince him, and you know what? I think he's going to be happy with what he gets back. I really do, and I'm happy for the guy, right? And you and I, we're both Serbian, so to convince your dad of something like that, it takes quite a lot.
Oh, I know. I convinced them to buy a computer to start mining, and
Yeah,
they're like, "Whoa! Like we're getting monthly income now from it." I'm like, "Well, no, duh."
right. Because the idea of it, it does sound too good to be true. You're like, no, because all of our parents, me, you, and Andrew, they're just used to working hard all day long, right? And the concept of the stock market or crypto, it's very foreign to them because they have other responsibilities. For us, especially during COVID times, you know, and like you said, people are spending more time online. Um, and that's essentially like in 2020 is when uh, the value of Bitcoin and other crypto just started to skyrocket, especially here in Canada.
Well, crypto goes up. It does. That's another beauty of crypto is it's not just limited to Canada. You can go in the U.S. everywhere. It's the same
Yeah,
price everywhere, right?
yeah,
So it's a global currency in that sense. It's like I can buy it in Canada. I can spend it in, let's say, New Zealand. And same thing with I can transfer it anywhere I want. There's no rules or regulations when I
right.
cross borders. I just take it with me.
Not yet.
Not yet. But how are they going to
It,
stop you right now? They really have no mechanism.
They're
and
gonna make it difficult.
yeah, they'll make it more difficult. Like Ontario, the way Binance is now allowed in Ontario, they have to register in Ontario, I think, under a different name, and they have to follow certain rules. But it's more difficult as opposed to this time last year. I'm like, oh yeah, I'll just press a few buttons, Cardano here and there. Um, but yeah, like you said, they're trying to figure out a way how to regulate it. And I read something, I forget where I read it. It says Doesn't matter what time of year it is. Doesn't matter if it's a federal or provincial government. They have a hard time with new technology. They don't know how to, unless they're experts in the field, they don't know how to regulate it. And even to this day, how are you going to regulate cryptocurrency? Let's say Canada like puts like, I don't know, oh, you can't trade between midnight and 4 a.m. That destroys the ability of Canadians to earn wealth. Because you think any other country is going to do that? No. Right? So it is difficult for them to manage it. And that's what people love.
Absolutely. Well, it looks like we're at time, but thank you so much, Igor, for joining. I think this was a fantastic podcast. And if you're interested, we'd love to have you again sometime soon.
You know what? I'd love to be back. Thank you for informing me on Polkadot and Web 3.0.
Of course.
Andrew, a pleasure. I'd love
Yes.
to come back sometime, and thank you for having me.
Of course.
Yes, good luck with getting the house, and hopefully in a year or so we can be doing an episode with you at your house, maybe at your new bought house.
There we go.
Let's go. Let's go.
All right. See ya, everyone.
Take care. Have a good night.
Later.